Whew. Wow, this has been a long time. Okay, so, pull my socks up. Should have stretched. So, this is, here we go. I'm archiving film. I'm not trying to explain rocket science. Hey everybody, it's been a long time. I apologize that it's been so long because things have been crazy. And, well, I don't know, actually, all right, maybe I should sit down for a second. Train of thought. Oh, it actually feels really good to like just stop and take a deep breath. So I think I'm ready for this now. Here we are, we're in my studio, and I've been in here since the fall. And there's two things I want to mention. And I feel really bad, not that it's been so long since I've made a video, but I literally stopped this archiving film series right in the good part. This video that you're gonna watch right now, this is the most important video in any series for archiving your film. That being said, when I was filming that in my old space, I was getting ready to move. My wife was taking over this farm, and both of us were just throwing ourselves in head first. So it was really important for us to kind of like take some time and to like get things set up and for us to get in somewhat of a routine. And then I had committed to myself to finish this book that I've been working on, which is titled Stories. And I said, you cannot do anything else, like no podcasting, no newsletter, no YouTube, no any fun things until I get this book done. The book was finished, and then printing and getting all that figured out. You know, I've literally been teaching myself everything, so it was a lot. It was a lot to handle, but here we are. And I'm really excited about this, and the reason why is I have a ton of film that needs to be archived. I've been waiting for this because I want you to see how I do it, like as I'm doing it. Not everything's already perfect and in its binder and good luck, but I'm literally gonna be doing all of it with you. And so again, this is the one that you're gonna get the most out of. I'm really excited about that. So let's see, did I say everything that I needed to for the intro? Yeah, I wrote, it's been a lot. I got in the book. Well, anyways, we did do the longest night ever. This is my third Snicker bar in 5 minutes. Tokyo! The Annapurna Range. This is the bell tower. Welcome to Belgium. On my 6x7 II. Hi! We're recording there, and let's record. Are we recording? Sweet! We're recording! Okay, what we're gonna do in working with the negatives is, can you even see me? Okay, maybe we don't use this. Let's just keep that one where it was. I'm using this little GoPro as my, like I can bring you with me because we're gonna keep the other cameras where they're at. Working with the negatives, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get organized. We're gonna talk about the supplies that we need, and which isn't much, don't worry. We have a system in place already, which you can watch the last video for, link here in the video. Then we're gonna talk about the contact sheets, getting those done, digitizing contact sheets, ordering the film, and so on and so forth. It's actually really easy. Before we talk about the supplies, I wanna talk about getting the film back from the lab. And because I wanted to talk about this in the video, that I prepared by actually getting some of my film developed from three different labs. Because most labs will send your film back different ways. This film came from Northeast Photographic in Maine, and they put these films in strips and roll it. The Darkroom Lab will send you a little like mailer, and then they send you these envelopes, and the film is cut into strips like these. And then they also have a little card that has like the photos from that roll. The other lab that I have used for a few years now, which is Flagstaff Camera, they already put this in a print file preserver for you. At least they have for me. Thank you guys. And this is our goal. This is what we want to do. We're going to do this to every roll of film. And so since those are already done, those can be kind of set aside. So you have two options. You need to think about this when you're archiving your film. Do you want it to be in a sleeve like this where you can see the whole roll of film? Or you could go the route where each roll of film is in its own envelope. And they have different types of envelopes than this, which I'll put in a link below. And a lot of people do like to keep their film in their own individual sleeves with like a number on it, which would show the corresponding roll of film. The first step that I have to do is cut every single roll of film that I have, and I have even more over here. I have to cut all of these because it all starts with making sure that our film is in these sleeves. Now let's talk about the supplies, because what do we need to do that? I remember the first time that I had to cut the actual film strip, I was so nervous because I was just thinking of I was like shaking. I was thinking the amount of pressure, like what if I cut into the frame? I mean, you think about it, you're literally cutting the image. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure to that. So I'll teach you a little bit of that. My supplies, I went and picked up, these are the sleeves that I use. Those are ready to go. The next thing that you need or should have would either be a binder to put your contact sheets or your negatives into, which you can get a really cheap one if you want, or you can get the archival safe binder from like Print File. There's tons of different places that you can buy these. The next thing, we'll need a nice pair of scissors to cut the negatives with. And then I have tape, which I'll use to label the archival binders. Sharpies. This will be used to write the file name on the archival sleeve. We're gonna write temporary file name. And then yeah, like silver to write with like the black tape. But again, this is not like super necessary. I will bring the camera over to see something else, because along with making your contact sheets, which is what our goal is, you probably have scans from the lab, but like me, if you chose not to get scans just to save money, then you'll have to make your own. And with that, you'll either need some sort of light box or scanner. And so this is just a V600, very simple way to scan. So this is kind of like my scanning station, making contact sheet, that kind of thing. So now that we have talked about all of our supplies, I don't care about any organizing yet. The first thing I want to do is just make sure that every single roll of film is in one of these. That's step one. So we're going to do that right now. We're back, and that took me about an hour to put about 20, 25 rolls of film into their archival sleeves. And I left one that is not finished yet, so we can show that. Okay, so the most important thing here is having a light source. We need to be able to see where we're cutting and making sure that we're not gonna hit the image at all. And so it helps to cut where you can see easiest. I always like to keep the scissors pointing down on something so it's not gonna move, and I just cut the end. And a lot of film actually has a number on it. I keep that, and that will be our temporary number that we write onto our archival sleeve, which you'll see. And so these film strips are going to be cut into 3 frames, so there'll be 4 rows. It's nothing crazy here. This is pretty easy. And then just like that, we're done. And I'll take the sleeves, and I definitely try to make it so we can read the information and then put the film in order. So we're going like this. This is also a really good time to note that I am not wearing gloves. For me, like at this stage, I don't wear gloves, and I think it just slows me down, and I've handled film enough. I'm just gonna touch the outside of it, and I'm okay with it. So, but once it comes to the scanning and all that, maybe, it's a lot different. So here we are. We just finished putting that the roll of film in the sleeve. There's no number or anything on it. So this is where I take a Sharpie and I'll write a number or a letter or whatever onto it temporarily. 90 to 100. So now that we did that, I'm gonna take an intermission. No. Nice. All right. Book is for Rosie. Oh, you don't know. Daddy. No. Wait, look, wait. Who's that? Who's that? That's cool.
I think it looks great. Well, we did promise her she could paint, so that is not paint. All right,
hey,
well,
thanks, I'm glad.
Not a great review from your daughter, who is dedicated to it.
My heart's broken. Okay, that was a lot longer intermission than I expected. It's been about 2 weeks since I first started organizing these archives and making this video. My parents came, and then I had to help my wife Lindsay redo the entire fence line on the farm. I had some interviews. It has been a whirlwind, but here we are. I am gonna pick up right where I left off. All of the film that I have is now in contact sheets. This is the protective sleeves that I use. I'm ready to move on to the next step. And what is that? Well, let's check in where we're at. When we're working with the negatives, the number one step is to get organized. We get our supplies together. You know, you maybe need some scissors if you have to cut your negatives. You need to get maybe a binder, whatever kind of binder you use, a Sharpie. Then we think of the system that we've already put in place, so that way this isn't too overwhelming. Specifically right now, I'm only working with the negatives for my Biddeford project. So the film in front of me that we're gonna be looking at today is just everything from that Biddeford project. We got everything in the contact sheet, the protective sleeves, and then we digitized contact sheets. So what we did, as you can see, the rolls of film that were sent and like uploaded, I printed them off. I did this in Lightroom, and this is essential in my process, because it is really hard to look at 30 of these and figure out which roll of film it is. And so I work with the digital contact sheet. Now we're gonna lay these out. We're going to pair them with the actual roll of film, which is great. One step further, I've organized these and I've written a number on the bottom which shows the order of the roll of film. I think it's easier to do it beforehand, so these are gonna get all mixed up. And so, well, we're just gonna jump right in and we're gonna see. So now we just lay out every single sheet that we have. You know, sometimes it's a lot easier to say, hey, let's just work with like the black and white ones first, and then we can work with the color ones. This is such a gratifying step. Again, you know, I think this is really important because the faster we get our film into the binder, the quicker we're gonna be able to rename our files and move on to the next step. And so, in the next step, meaning when you're editing your film or you're rescanning or you're doing whatever you're doing, it's just gonna be easier for you to stay organized. So I have all of the black and white film here in front of me. Now I can go through all of these contact sheets, the actual film, and just start pulling out all of the black and white film, so that way we can move on. I'm having a hard time finding all of it. Right? All right, well, this is exactly why we're doing this, because I was missing a ton of film from this project, and I thought I had every roll of film here. I did not. I guess my pile to sort and organize was way bigger than I thought. I started laying out my rolls of the black and white film, and I only found 3 rolls, and so I was kind of had a little bit of a freak out moment, but I had a drawer upstairs from a bunch of film. So let's see what we got here. This is what we were looking for. Wow, tons of film. Oh boy. Let's track down the rest of this black and white. Here's that roll. You're gonna see how quick this goes, just because once we see, I mean, I'm looking at all the negatives right here, and I can just see where the film is. Goes pretty quick. You know, I will say, this is why I like to separate my personal stuff, because most of this work here is personal. I like to separate it by camera, and it's pretty easy for me to figure out which camera was shot on what. So that's the first step. If you really have tons of negatives all over the place, I would suggest breaking it up in easy steps. You know, if you try to get too specific with dates and all this stuff when you're just looking at the negatives like this, you're gonna get lost and it's gonna get overwhelming, and you're gonna not wanna continue archiving your stuff. You gotta make it easy, you gotta make it fun. So that is all of the black and white film right here. It is all laid out, as you can see. So we have all the black and white film that needed to be sorted. It is now over the contact sheet. So we are going to see how underneath each roll of film, that digital contact sheet, well, I already numbered it, and this is roll 38 of 2020. So what I can do is I can take my Sharpie, so I'm gonna write 2020 and 38 on the top, just like that. Now, we're gonna make something more official soon, but you get the idea. And this is 21, that's roll 1. This is 2, 21. This is roll 4, 21. Roll 6. Let's lay out the rest of the color film. I think one of the reasons why this is so much fun to me is when you're laying out all of these sheets, you're looking at all of the pictures you've taken, like all at one time, and just seeing this here, it's pretty incredible. We're running out of room. And now let's get to the good stuff. Hopefully we have everything here. I mean, we do, but okay. My strategy is I look for one image that really stands out, and then, oh yeah, totally different project. This is all my Pro 400H project. Yeah, I look for one image that stands out and I hunt it down. If I, can find it, of course. Sometimes I look for more images. Dump truck, dump truck, dump truck. I think another really great thing about doing this is no matter like how many duplicate contact sheets or anything you'll have, you only have one real roll of film. That's like such a nice thing about shooting on film. This is what you have. And so you build your entire organizational system around this. And that to me is like the key to success. We're almost there. All right, there we go. So we laid out all of our color film just like that. As you can see, everything has now been laid out. We can make the number and then move on. 26, 11, 10. My numbering system is, I like to try to have it as much in an order as possible from when I took the roll of film or shot the roll of film. It's very close. So maybe it was all shot in the same day, but it wasn't. This roll was shot before that one. Now, when I was hiking the Appalachian Trail, it was extremely important to have everything exactly in the order that I shot it from the trail. Okay, so I'm gonna start collecting these. 13, 16, 17, 18. Great, so now all these negatives and contact sheets are ready to go into the binder. What we have, so I finished the 2020, this booklet is for 2020. The last row I have in here is roll 36, and this is roll 37 through 40. So I can just put that in here. that's done. I ended up making this Biddeford archival book for both 2020 and 2021, just because save space. And just like that, everything is in the archival book. That is awesome. And now these will get in order. They're already numbered, so that will be super easy. So we'll have 2020 and 2021 lookbooks. To top everything off, I have something else. I use these labels. So now that I know the roll number, I use these Avery, they're really small address labels. I can probably like link them below. But these stickers are gonna go on the contact sheet, and they're gonna look just like that. So it says my name, the year, the project, and the roll number. That way, all this temporary information that I would use, that we were using during like the sorting phase and all that stuff, none of that matters anymore. This is what matters, the sticker. If I have to take this roll of film out, it's super easy to know where it goes. And I actually, in this big pile of film that I had, which needed sorting, some of this was from my book, and I had scanned it. And so I have this roll of film here, and this is from 2017 on the X-Pan. And you can see I have my information all right there. It tells me exactly how to put that back into the binder and right where it goes. So it's simple. So I can go through and start stickering everything, and that's just like icing on the cake, you know? I was thinking that if you're in a situation where you have a bunch of film and say some of it, maybe you don't have a lot of projects in mind when you're shooting it, but you still want to break it up more than it just being like personal work, because maybe everything's just personal work. Try to maybe just break it up by camera and then year. But if you try to break it up by location and or like activity, say half the roll is hiking and the other half is in the city that you live in, well, that could be pretty difficult, because what do you do if the roll is both or two places? You don't want to separate the roll of film, you know, like cut the negatives and put half of them here. I mean, things can just get messy, and that's, in my opinion, maybe there's a lot of people that do that and they're successful with it, but not for me. Just try to find, we come back to that system. If you're figuring out your system, that's the most important thing. Just really dive into how to make it easy. I've already done all of the overthinking for you. Now you can just simplify your process like I have in the end. And all this stuff that I'm doing with the stickers and whatnot, this is just fun for me, because this is when you get to see your kind of like your hard work paying off. Last one. Sweet. And just like that, all of our Biddeford film is organized and in here, and the contact sheets are organized as well here. Everything is good to go. But I hope this video was helpful. Your feedback is great, and like the video and subscribe and do all those fun YouTube things, so appreciate it. And I cannot wait to make the next video, which will be me sitting at the computer and diving into my folder systems, because that's where things are important too. So, but this is step one. So, thank you.
Is this FedEx?
Is that coming?
Yeah. Up to the house.
Up to the house?